Wow.
Wow.
God. But hello, we're back. War crimes? War crimes? War crimes? I don't know. Just random stuff.
Wait, what?
Because I was like, we're back. War crimes. War crimes.
War crimes?
War crimes. Yeah. you know? But yeah, we're Katawa. We're near the end. I can feel it. I think maybe I don't know. We're just here. Maybe Kenji will appear. I don't know. Fuck. Like
I don't know.
maybe he's already here already in spirit with the feminist conspiracies. You know, it just happens. But anyways, enough of the dilly dallying. Enough with the introductions. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, got him words that I know.
Autumn.
But yo, okay. Anyways, enough of me just saying random shit. Fucking just start up the game. Just start up. Just fucking start up the.
What do you mean you can't ramble for 30 minutes before you start your actual stream?
It's hard. It's hard. Also, you're covered by the thing again. Hold on. Let me make myself.
No.
There we go. I'm
Don't
tiny
cover
now.
me.
I'm not gonna cover you. We're gonna cuddle, and do some katawa. So so
Yay.
so you gotta not be on me, like
Ah.
okay. That's all adjusted. We got Katawa on the side here, and there's no motion blur that will just ruin my day because then pain. I really need to get a stream layout so then I can not be covered in motion blur.
Motion blur?
Because like whenever we play like Morphin and all that, right? Since
Uh-huh.
I don't have like a stream overlay like you do, I
Mm-hmm.
you and me both get motion blurred. Like I noticed it too, and I'm just like, oh, I need a thing.
Oh,
I need a thingaling. Uh,
okay.
but anyways, so let me. Oh, let me read this for you. There we go. And I shouldn't have the problem of my OBS freezing on its preview because I'm not using my controller for this. So wonderful, wonderful. I won't be a stilled image as well as
Mm-hmm.
everything else. But yeah. We left off at this one, I think. Yes, August 23rd. Great outlook. We had
Oh, yeah. We had a spicy night
you could say that,
with
yeah.
shrimp.
With apparently Shori just to make it a random appearance. But yeah, let's continue where we left off, shall we? Mm.
Mm-hmm.
After being woken by sound, I opened my eyes with a measure of reluctance. Turning my head to the left, I find the rain outside sweeps against the window loudly. Spray after wind-blown spray lashes against the glass as if trying its hardest to make up for the summer's previous heat. I wish. God. Where's the rain at? It would be so good right now. But at the same time, it would be so humid. It would be pain. I sit up in the futon, holding the back of my neck to try and subdue the pain from my awkward sleeping position. 100%. I feel that every time. That's why I slap some icy hot on there and then just be like, it'll go away eventually. Mm-hmm. By all by all counts, I shouldn't I should be lamenting the turn in the weathers, given that this is our last day here. The events of yesterday refuse to stop flooding my mind, though. I mean, can you blame them? The feeling of holding Lily's crying body in my arms, the rush of lust and hormones that flowed through us as we spent the night together. It seems almost futile to try and rationalize everything that happened. In an attempt to distract myself, I groan and lean over to retrieve my bag without standing, pulling out one bottle after another. I take the daily regiment's worth of pills from their containers and swallow them without further ado. It took a surprising short amount of time to get used to swallowing pills without water. That said, I suppose the same thing goes for getting used to living in a school for disabled students. Remembering Yamaku, I became all the more grateful for having the chance to get away, even if it's just for the shortest of time. I appreciate the chance to spend time alone with Lilly and Hanako, away from the bustle of school life, even considering the latest complications. I never thought I'd say it, but the idea of living away from the city is a nice, tranquil area is an inviting one. It's a thought that barely a year ago would have seemed simply ludicrous. A flash of pink. No doubt Hanako's groan peeks around the corner, realizing I must look a sight since I've only just woken up. I slap the remaining pills into my mouth and run a hand through my hair.
Good morning, Hisao.
Ah! ah! I reply to her, completely forgetting that I'm in the middle of swallowing a particularly large pill, coughing and splurting. I violently gag on it.
Hisao.
After sputtering loudly and tapping my chest a couple of times to force down the pill, I managed to recover. I'm fine. Sorry. Forgot I was swallowing.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I hold my hand up, gesturing for Hanako to stop. I gagged. It's my fault. Morning, Hanako. She pauses for a moment before bowing in reply. Walking, no staggering, but in behind is the familiar figure of Lilly, also dressed in her pajamas, with her eyes full of sleep and hair bedraggled. She is a sight to behold. Hi, Lilly.
Good morning, Hisao.
For a while, a silence hangs in the air, as neither of us know what to do. I mean, it's just. I think it's pretty awkward, but given what happened last night, we both have more than enough reason to be finding the situation awkward. Just how are we meant to react to meeting each other after something like that? Winky face. The best course of action would probably be to talk to Lilly alone to set things in order. I'll start making breakfast. Lilly evidently catches on to my train of thought.
I'll help. Hanako, could you set the table?
She nods, her head disappearing into the cupboard as she quickly goes about her assigned tasks. I rub a little more sleep out of my eyes as I wander over to the fridge and take out some milk, and Lily grabs various bright colored boxes from some of the lower cupboards to my side. While we make the rather bland looking meal, I whisper something or somewhat more quietly than usual, knowing Lily's hearing she won't have any trouble catching what I say. Are you okay, Lily? After last night? She gives a delicate nod, her expression weak. Though her tiredness surely plays a part, she seems genuinely unsure about what happened between us and how to move ahead. I can't say I blame her, considering my feelings are the same.
I'm sorry, Hisao. I wasn't thinking straight yesterday. I never stopped to consider you or Hanako, and I even went as far as.
You went as far as what? Yale? She's Winding herself up, her hands and voice both tightening, I give her a gentle bump to try and lighten up the situation. You don't have to apologize. I said I liked you as well, after all.
But I.
As her composure begins to falter, it becomes obvious there's no alternative. Turning to Lily, I gently embrace her tall frame. She offers no resistance at all, thankfully pulling back just from the edge of her emotion. Despite our reassuring embrace, lasting only a matter of seconds, I notice Hanako wordlessly watching, the plate in her hand hovering inches above the table, her actions halted midway by the sight. Also, hello, Lock-On. Welcome on in. Hopefully you're doing well. We're doing some Katawa today. It is great so far. The clatter of utensils against plates is the only sound to be heard as we slightly eat, whereas before only two of us may have been unsure of ourselves. The entire situation has changed. After weeks of blissful friendship, whiling away the days we with shared meals and chatter with little meaning, the relationship of Lily and me, no, that of all of us, has irreversibly changed. I can't take this. Lily. She solemnly nods, gently laying her spoon on the plate in front of her. Neither of us know exactly how we regard each other, let alone how Hanako would view us.
This might seem abrupt, but I've confessed to Hisao.
For a moment, Hanako looks almost confused. Precisely the reaction I thought she would have. She eventually nods, her spoon still in her mouth, as she does.
Did you accept?
I did. She gives a smile so large and so earnest, I find myself blushing. I think it's the brightest I've ever seen her expression look.
Then I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. I'm sorry for not telling you anything about it before. Things have been.
Nako shakes her head from side to side, empathetically, apparently forgetting about her rush that Lily couldn't possibly notice. She begins fiddling with her fingers, looking a little more nervous than she did before.
To be honest, I began to think you might like each other a while ago. At first, I didn't really know what to think about it, but I've decided in the end that if my friends are happy, then I'm happy. I was really glad to have another friend when we met Hisao. So you finding love through him is even better, right?
A feeling of relief at her acceptance of our relationship falls over me like a wave. The same happens to Lily, judging by her expression.
Thank you, Hanako. I really appreciate you being so understanding.
Lily's voice still sounds slightly apologetic, or at least unsure. This doesn't escape Hanako, who appears lost in thought for a few moments before turning to me.
Hisao, do you mind if Lily and I go outside for a bit?
In that clothing? I mean, I guess it's raining
Like go outside
outside.
in our pajamas.
It's
Oh, and it's
raining.
raining.
Yeah, it's still raining. I guess. Ah, no. Feel free.
Hanako?
Hanako gets up from her seat, taking Lily's hand and almost dragging her from the table in her excitement. Considering Lily's typically slow and steady pace, Hanako haste makes her footing awkward, and she almost loses her balance a couple of times. It's pretty amusing. Uh, it's a pretty, it's a pretty amusing sight, leaving me wordless as I watch them disappear out the door. It's only now that I realize the rain stopped. being replaced by the skies seemingly all the more vivid and bright to make up for the morning drab gray expanse. For Hanako, this must be a pretty big revelation. Lily and I are really the only people she associates with, almost as if we were parents in her own stead. I cannot speak. I cannot phrase sentences. It's very fluffy, but we stick with it. I suppose that might well be the best way to describe the relationship we share. A father, mother, and daughter, all playing around in our little make-believe family, as if it could last forever. It might be a strange dynamic, and one that certainly can't last for long. But maybe, just this one small moment, it's okay. As I stand from the table and go to join Lily and Hanako in the fields outside, I nod to myself in affirmation. This one small moment of happiness, no matter how brief, will last with me, with all of us, forever. Submerged deep in the hot water, I let a drawn out sigh escape my lips. The feeling of seemingly every muscle in my body relaxing in is euphoric. I have no idea how long it's been since I had a genuine hot bath, but right now, I could hardly be bothered trying to remember. Maybe I'm giving the simple fact that for once I get to have a real bath more credit than it's due. The chance to calm down, allow myself to unwind and have some time to myself is a welcoming one. Hanako, Lily, and I wander outside, exploring the extent of the surprisingly large tract of land surrounding the house. Then we spent the majority of the afternoon resting, watching television, reading, and playing cards. It may not have been the most exciting finale to the trip, but such a tranquil peacefulness is something to savor. Even after we return to school tomorrow, I think I'll remember this little house in Hokkaido for a long time. It's a pity we only have a couple more hours to spend here before going to get the train back. All I can do is yawn contentedly while I watch the steam slowly rise from the clear water's placid surface, eyes eventually locking onto the ceiling. Our exams are imminent. I barely studied at all for them. Same, bro. On top of that, I don't even know what I'll do after graduation. Passing exams is all well and good, but to what end? Also now, of all times, I'm getting into a relationship. What the hell am I doing? I guess I shouldn't think like that. What's done is done. And maybe this could be viewed as just another aspect of my new life that I'm working on. I enjoy being with Lily, and there's more to life than a school and a career after all. As I busily attempt to rationalize all that happened, I hear a series of raps on the door. I pick myself up and sit up right, trying to figure out the source. Three, no more or no less, or three, no more and no less, light yet assertive in their tapping, timed regularly enough to tune a metronome. I'd be extremely surprised if it wasn't Lily.
May I come in?
Hey, yo? Wait, what's going on here? Yeah, it's Lily. I'm still in the bath. I'll be out in a second.
I know.
The voice coming from the other side of the door freezes me. After a second thought, I rest on the side of the bath and let my arms dangle over the side. Despite trying my best to play it off, I can't help letting my mind wander. Sure, come in. With that, she opens the door, slowly walking into the room and closing it behind her. She looks oddly calm, countering my heart race. So, you come here often? Ah, hey, Lilly.
Do you mind if I take a bath with you?
Hey, yo, 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 hey, yo. It's too early. It's not even past 30 minutes. No, you two, please. I don't mind. Go ahead. What do you mean you don't mind?
No hesitation.
God damn it! With a small nod, she begins to lift her sweater off her shoulders, baring her chest little by little. I could do that for you if you're like, Jesus, bro!
The Riz, though. The Riz.
Riz, damn!
Refused.
Damn. There was the Riz, and then the Riz got denied. Fuck, man.
Damn. Refused.
Why? Her face shows she's still not overly comfortable with letting me attend to her. I can't say I blame her. God damn. She continues undressing, her shirt and skirt falling to the floor and leaving her in her white lace bra and panties. Eventually, she stands bare in the center of the room. It's a rat! It's a rat!
That's a chinchilla.
It's still a rat.
A chinchilla.
It's still a rat.
A chinchilla with some squash.
And transition. Whoa, it's early. Goddamn.
I like how she's totally unfazed with being naked in front of him, but yet does not want him to touch her. Like, that's where she draws the line.
We're already off to a hot and heavy start. Jesus, please, YouTube, don't fucking kill me. Please don't kill me. I promise. It was just a chinchilla. YouTube. There was nothing more. Just a chinchilla with a random fucking fruit sticker. After a chaotic dash to the station and finding our seats in an otherwise deserted carriage, we promptly crashed. Looking at the time, close to midnight, it's a little surprise that few take to this particular train. Hanako is fast asleep on Lilly's shoulders, and I can only barely muster the energy to stay awake. The excitement we had a while ago probably didn't help. Oh, you don't think, huh? I'd probably be depressed about going back to school if my brain was actually working. Yep, same. As it is, though, the sight of the nighttime scenery scrolling by is surprisingly beautiful. My loud yawn is nearly wholly drowned out by the clacking of the train tracks and the old carriage rattling. So tired.
And whose fault is that, Hisao?
She really does toe the line between insulting and amusing sometimes, so I managed to wring out a weary smile. I look back out the window, my reflection just visible on the clear pane. Truth be told, she's perfectly correct. If it weren't for the little interlude a few hours ago, both of us would have a lot of more energy. On top of that, we both had to take another bath, nearly making us late for the train's departure. Jesus, it did get steamy, huh? Yeah, it was mine. Still, Getting into a bath with a guy is a dangerous thing to do.
Evidently.
Sorry. I guess I kind of took advantage of the situation back there. Hey, yo.
Well, I didn't exactly hate it.
Jesus. As she trails off, I look back to her. My eyes narrow as I see her slightly reddened cheeks and small grin, her mind obviously elsewhere. Say it.
I knew the possibility of it happening was there.
I knew it. You're just as dirty minded as I am. She quickly coughs into her free hand, making her disapproval crystal clear.
That's a rather crude way of putting it.
The puffing of her cheeks.
Her little face, you know. It's so cute.
Oh, and you would suggest?
I merely have a healthy adolescent sex drive.
Jesus. So, in other words, dirty minded. Almost seeming to sense the moment, Hanako mumbles quietly as she frowns her brow in Lily's lap. Lily looks of disapproval melt away as she gently smiles and strokes her hand on Hanako's long black hair, or dark hair. All I can do is watch and smile. And if someone were to ask me when I fell in love with her, I want to be able to answer. The best I'd be able to come up with is, it just happened at some point, but I didn't realize it. If someone were to ask me why I love her, though, then I could answer much more easily. You really love Hanako, don't you? She gives a deep nod, smiling warmly.
It's a pity we have to return to school. She seems to relax so much while we were all away.
And this one is a choice.
Uh-huh.
So what you think we should do?
Um, let's talk about Hanako. Let's not worry too much about school right now.
Yeah, since we're just on the train ride back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry. Hanako's been gaining confidence thanks to you. At least for as long as I've known you two. She gives a self-deprecated sigh.
I think I merely provided her with company and support. Since she came to know you, she's opened up much more, even to me.
I get the feeling she's understating her influence on Hanako, especially given that before the two came to know each other, Hanako had no friends to speak of. The friend I'd had in my previous school fulfilled what I have expected of them, for the most part simply being there for idle chatter, but in Hanako and Lily, there really feels to be more to the relationship. Part of me envies it, but another can't ignore the fact that the school year will evidently end. After graduation, I really have no idea what Hanako will do. This trip has shown me just how much we've all come to depend on one another. Indeed, we're all going to have to make decisions. Maybe that's the reason why, despite our return to school, also hurdling a return to a normalcy of everyday life, I can't help feeling a little restless. On the bright side, it won't take long for the summer holidays to arrive after our exams are finished. We could come back here during the summer holidays if you want. For a moment, she thinks on the notion, her face becoming somewhat distant. I can only guess she's reflecting on all that's happened here.
That would be good, I think.
I nod approvingly, smiling at her. Summer together with Lily, this idea seems like a perfect way to spend our holiday. Act 4,
Oh,
the future. The final act.
yay!
After the excitement of our trip to Hokkaido, it seems strange to be right back to the usual daily routine so soon. Indeed, it feels like a normal day, same as any other. Well, it's what I'd like to think, anyways. To tell the truth, the atmosphere of the entire class, no, the entire school, has changed. While an current of subdued trepidation had previously pervaded the class, now that the exams are in sight, it boils over into frantic studying rarely seen otherwise. One day until exams start, it's horrific. Really. That instead of studying, we went and wasted our time up north. We were such model students, too. Glancing around the class, even the bubbly, ever energetic Misha seems oddly deflated. She sits at her desk, nervously chewing a pen while Matao lectures from the front of the classroom. Or the class. Wait, on closer inspection, I do believe she's eating. Tearing my eyes from the sorry spectacle, I turn my attention elsewhere. Hanako sits frantically scribbling in her notebook, her face mere inches away from the page, seemingly trying to record every word that leaves Matao's mouth. Shizune's, well, Shizune, cool and cool as a cucumber, she sits diligently taking notes with her tended royally focused on the front of the class. Truth be told, it's what I should be doing as well, if not for the fact that I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what's being covered already. I wonder how Lily's doing. While she does have a good head on her, she has plenty on her plate, unlike me. Her class representative duties, taking care of Hanako, her other social contacts, and her extra English studies, that girl really does take on a lot. The lunchtime bell begins to uh, brings a sigh of relief from the entire classroom. Matao being no exception, I get the feeling he much prefers the more laid-back atmosphere of his normal classes to the frantic pace of exam preparations we subjected to right now.
Hee-chan, help me!
I lowered my eyelid to half mester, making clear my intention of doing quite the opposite.
Help me, help me, help me!
Not going well?
Hee-chan's going to be fine, but I think I might die. Am I gonna die, Hee-chan? Will you let me die from all this work?
Maybe.
Damn.
Mundilin. Given that she's neither the brightest student in class nor the most diligent, it isn't a great surprise that she's finding it hard to cope with the workload. Sorry, Misha, but I've got my own work to do. I thought you and Shizune would be studying together over the long weekend, anyways.
Studying's too boring to waste a holiday on, Hee-chan. Shopping together was much more fun, wasn't it, Hee-chan?
It's only now that I realize Shizune's been looking to us, and that Misha's arms have been moving lightly all this time. I must be really zoned out to not have noticed. What is it with girls and shopping, anyways? Even Lilly and Hanako have dragged me out with them a couple of times.
But you win anyway. It's so rare to see a guy like that, a guy that likes going shopping.
Well, my role would probably be best described as pack mule. I can't say I share your enthusiasm about the experience. Back to the exams. You studied after you got back from the days off, didn't you, Shizune?
Of course, Hee-chan. It's only sensible to study in the days before. Erg.
Misha makes a sound vaguely similar to a dying cow as he realizes her folly and ceremonious, ceremoniously flops onto her desk, betrayed even by her best friend. Judging from Shizune's quite frustrated look at Misha, she probably told her to study as she did. Don't worry, you can still gain some grades if you start studying now. Maybe. Misha does not seem overly amused. It seems the bubbly balloon of everlasting cheerfulness has been cruelly popped. Shizune's signs goes unnoticed by the moping Misha, earning her a quick poke in the shoulder. It takes barely a moment for Misha to get back into form.
Oh, so what did you do over the weekend, Hee-chan?
Just took a trip up north with Lilly and Hanako. It was pretty nice. I see both of them narrowing their eyes at me, their minds surely in the gutter. The fact that their suspicions are founded makes the situation all the more awkward. We just studied and went sightseeing. There's nothing more to that. To it. Sure, buddy.
Hmm.
After such a flagrant lie, I realized that it may not have been the best step considering Shizune's connections and her total lack of restraint when it comes to questioning someone she suspects of telling untruths. I really have no idea of how she's going to take it, but she'll find out eventually anyways. It isn't as if it's really her business whom I date, in any case. And yes, Lily and I are going out now. While Misha receives the news with an enthusiastic smile, Shizune gives a look of mild surprise, somewhat masked by her cool demeanor.
Whoever you date is your business. I hope you two go well together.
Misha gives a look that says, "This is the most quarter I could possibly receive on the matter. It's all I wanted, really." After she says this, though, Shizune begins to sigh something else, then stops herself and shakes her head at Misha to prevent her from translating. Normally, I'd think this situation, or this is this strange enough, but the awkwardly casual wave Shizune gave before walking off with Misha in tow adds to my confusion. Shizune hardly the kind of person to pull a punch or communicate without forethought. I shrug my shoulders at the duo's odd behavior, and I look towards Hanako's desk. But seeing that her chair's empty, she was definitely here before, so I guess she just didn't feel like waiting. I'll go grab some food alone then. Walking down the hallway to the unused room that becomes a second home to the three students in particular, I mournfully look down at the plastic wrapped salad roll and juice box in my hand. Cafeteria food really is unappetizing. Maybe I'll consider this my penance for my recent indiscretions. Opening the door, I noticed one less quiet figure than I expected. It's strange. Despite having known Lily for months, I can't help thinking back to the very first time I opened this door and saw her silently sitting in the sunlight. Just as she did then, she slowly opens her eyes, unmoving as they are, and calmly addresses me.
Good morning, Hisao.
It's afternoon, I think. Has Hanako been around? She's skittering out of class without me even noticing. Lily cradles her cheek thoughtfully as I take a seat, my bag's taking its place against the closest leg of the table, and my unsatisfied meal neatly set out in front of me.
You did appear for a time. She said she had to study for the upcoming exams and left for the library.
We find ourselves not entirely believing her words. Well, at least her intentions are in the right place.
She is sweet, but she needn't go this far to let us have our space. I might talk to her about it sometime.
Probably for the best. For a while, we quietly eat our meals, Lily elegantly nibbling on the sandwiches and sipping her tea as I eat what tastes like a garden sandwich in dry dough. The atmosphere feels slightly strained, neither of us knowing quite what to say or to each other now that our small talk has dried up. Eventually, we both finish our food with no conversation forthcoming for quite some time. Eventually, though, Lily's soft voice breaks the silence.
A lot happened back there, didn't it?
Hmm? Again, silence. We both, with both of, with both our minds on the same topic, though. I think I have the feelings on the that sorted out. Ugh. I think everything happened in kind of a hurry, but I don't regret anything that happened in Hokkaido. Not one thing.
Sal?
Slightly tense, I take her hand in mine. Have to feel her, have to settle my own nerves. I stand by my words back there, Lily. I love you, and I won't leave you. I only wish for you to think the same. She silently reflects for a long time, which feels like an eternity. Her re- her review. God, fuck, I cannot, bro. Re, God, can I think? Can I process the word? Can I do this? Her reviews comes to an end as she takes one hand of mine from mine, placing it over them as she leans her body forward and stands out of her chair. After a moment's hesitation, her face slightly pensive, her lips meet mine for a brief moment. My mind feels as if it's briefly stopped at that moment, barely registering Lily sitting back in her chair and smiling back at me with ever so slightly reddened cheeks.
Hearing that makes me very happy, Hisao. I would be glad to stay with you.
Maybe it would be good to slow things down a bit, compared to before. We still have school after all, and our exams. She gives a mischievous giggle, which proves to be contagious.
That might be a good idea indeed. Do you think you'll fare well in your exams? It's only one day until they arrive, as you say.
I probably should have studied more, but I think I've got a good enough head to manage. That said, I had to bat off Misha and Shizune. Is your class as worried about the exams as mine? She lets out an exasperated sigh, but confirming it, I'm thankful for the atmosphere becoming a bit lighter.
I think so. I've already been asked for help by two of my classmates, and there will no doubt be more.
Think of it as your first training being a teacher, maybe.
That's probably a good way to think of it. On that note, how are you faring in your English studies? I remember it was far from your strongest subject, and the few sentences you memorized to speak to my mother aren't likely to help.
Damn, right on the mark. You got me. If you don't mind, would you be able to possibly help in that regard? Please?
It would be my pleasure to help you, Hisao, but in exchange,
She lowers her eyebrows at me, her cottish nature tentatively coming to the bow. No problem at all. Probably be better off with some help in your studies, though. She beams a smile at me. One girlish victory that nearly makes me blush. I get the feeling she's aware of how to use her face to twist my judgment, so I should probably be more on guard. Here and here and now, though, a study group seems like an expedited way for both of us to shore up our more lacking skills. The school bell rings out, reminding us that time isn't going to stand still. Huh? Lunchtime's over already? It sure is easy to lose track of the time here.
this room's so far from the other clubs and activities, not much sound can reach us. That's probably most of the reason why.
A place far from all the others, alone with just one person whom she loves. As Lilly stands and collects her bag and cane, my thoughts are cast back to the time we spent in Hokkaido.
Ah, before I go, Akira and I are having a homecoming party in my room tomorrow. Will you be able to come?
And back again. My schedule's free, so I should be able to make enough room in my study time to make it.
Good to hear, Hisao.
For what it's worth, I'm glad you're back from Scotland. Once exams are over, we should have more time to ourselves.
Holidays start soon after, too.
We should start the holidays with Tanabata, then, just as we promised at the school festival. She brings her hand to her cheek and laughs slightly nervously, recalling the events as I slightly thank myself for managing to remember. It seems odd to see her react in such way, though it's not like I never saw her embarrassed before.
I better be going. Farewell, Hisao.
Bye. Whether it's out of the habit Whether it's out of habit or just a stubborn desire for one small fragment of normality, I hold my hand up in farewell, just as I always do. At least, I consciously aware that I'm doing it now. I think I'm beginning to see the bigger picture than I ever had before, not only with Lilly, but also my life ahead. The chains of my past are finally breaking. Transition into school, and the exams are gonna kill me. Fuck.
Don't worry, have confidence. You'll do it.
No confidence.
Confidence.
Walking up to the slightly more familiar corridor of the girls' dormitory, I can hear the faint sound of laughter coming from up ahead. It doesn't take long to identify the source as Lily's room, though the deep timbre of the female voice unmistakably belongs to not her, but her sister. I rap my knuckles on the door with the usual 3 light taps, my hand barely retracting, retreating as the door swings open.
Hey, Hisao.
Hey, hello, Lily. Hanako. Hanako looks up tentatively, her hands buried in her oversized pink nightgown. From her side, Lilly turns sideways towards the direction of my voice and smiles. It would be a flagrant lie to say I dislike the sight of her in those pajamas. I catch Akira giving me a sidelong look with a knowing grin, to which I reply with a sharp glance. She takes the hint, shrugs, and walks back to the lower table in the center of the room. As I go to join her, Lily gives me a nod of greeting and starts pouring me a cup of tea. It's nice to see you again, Hanako. You've been getting around recently. Lily wears a look of concentration as the light brown liquid, carefully measured by her finger, as always, flows from the teapot into the cup.
It seems Hanako has taken up helping one of the people in your class with the newspaper club. Naomi, I think.
Hanako gives an affirmative nod. Even after spending about 2 months in the class, I still have trouble remembering the names of those students I rarely talk with. It takes me a few mental contortions to connect the name with the face, but I eventually remember the girl that sits beside Hanako at the back of the classroom. Naomi Noah, a fairly average-looking girl, except for her bleached blonde hair. Given her upbeat and straightforward personality, Naomi may as have seen an opening to pouch Hanako for her club when she's inquiring about joining one. Either way, it's nice to see Hanako broadening her horizons. When I first met her, the idea of her joining a club with anyone but Lily would have seemed utterly laughable. That explains how busy you've been. Enjoying it?
It's really interesting.
As always, Hanako's far from being talkative. Some things never change, and it seems that Hanako's personality is one of them. She's likely always be she's likely always be the one to shy away from being overly social. Warned by the sound of crockery against the table as Lily gently places my drink in front of me. I thank her and take a long sip. Hanako and Lily are attending to their own, and Akira is quaffing a mug of strong smelling black coffee.
You're a lucky bastard, Isao.
Huh? I can't help grimacing at her teasing smile, still visible around the edge of the mug, pressed to her lips.
Seeing my sister in her pajamas, there's a lot of men out there who'd like to be where you are.
Jesus. I've seen a lot more than that of her. Not that I admit that, or admit it.
Akira! Hey, I'm just teasing.
She leans over to me as much as she can, whispering with a sly grin written on her face.
And Hanako too, you perv.
Oh, Jesus! Why are you making that face at me, bro? That's not what it's like. What the fuck? Hey, it was her idea.
I,
We both look over to her face turned to the ground, and her hands fidgeting in the lap of her nightgown.
If it's Hisao, I don't mind.
What do you do, Nani? Nani?
Well.
Nani?
Well.
Also, sorry, the dragon DM'd me.
Oh, the dragon DM'd you?
Yeah, she was asking if I wanted to postpone. Hold on.
That's okay.
Is there an Uno? Yes, there is. Got him. Got him. I played the Uno reverse card.
Oh?
Because, like, she tells me, do you still need to postpone tomorrow? It's okay if so. I'm like, up to you. No, up to you, Baka. No, you. Uno reverse. Mega bonk. Ah, this could be bad. I know Hanako's altogether too innocent to bother reading too much into such a thing, but the expression Akira directs at me is positively stormy.
Akira, please.
It seems Lily can sense Akira's sudden change in aura just as well as I, even without seeing it for herself. Oh, so why am I getting called hentai? What the Boka? I hate it here. Akira slowly looks away from me, like an attack dog leashed by its owner. In the nick of time, I breathe a slight a sigh of relief. I can't think of a more appropriate time to try and change topics than around now. If you don't mind me asking, Akira, what do you do for a living? I've never seen you out of your suit of that suit.
A Yakuza boss. I mean, what?
The Russian mafia, that
The
feminist,
Russian mafia.
that feminist conspiracy.
Thinking about what I do with yourself after school's over, eh? Oh, what to do with yourself, yeah. I'm a lawyer, for the most part. I work in the legal department of the Japanese branch of our family's company. The most boring possible answer, I suppose. Law's a pretty dry topic to most people.
Fair, fair. Kinda.
Oi, you're not supposed to agree.
Lily gives a amused giggle while holding her teacup and saucer. Hanako quickly joining her. This friendly atmosphere between everyone is something I'd miss while Lily and Akira were on their trip. While the dealing I had with Hanako didn't help, I think just not having Lily around changed the mood.
It's nice to be back. I missed you, Hisao. And you too, Hinako.
Same goes for the both of us. I'm guessing your classmates were happy to see you back.
In a matter of speaking, yes.
Akira's amused snort shows she's well aware of Lily's attitude towards such figures of speech. I imagine she had to be, given how long they've been together.
Did you have fun in Scotland?
For a moment, I wonder why she's asking. It's having been quite a while since they came back, but then I remembered everything that happened. We simply we simply not had time to look back. What with the exams and our Hokkaido trip. Lily's face goes distant for a moment, and the fact that Akira's first reaction is to look over to her sister doesn't escape me. Nonetheless, she quickly collects herself.
It was nice. We hadn't met our family in such a long time, so it was a wonderful reunion.
Yeah, I guess that's right. Their house being beachside was the best part, though.
From her dismissive tone, I get the feeling Akira doesn't like their family as much as Lily does.
You only liked that because you finally had time to play around.
Just 'cause I'm the better swimmer.
She's blind, bro!
She's blind. Oh my god.
I don't take after the athletic side of my family, that's all.
Well, you can take heart in the fact that you got the height genes at least.
Yeah, shorty, goddamn.
And the bus genes.
Hey, yo!
That's not really the right kind of thing to say around others.
Though Lily pretends to scold Akira, she does so with an unmistakable, slightly cheeky grin on her face. I doubt Akira really minds that, judging from her nonchalant expression, while I don't either. Nako looks down and blushing furiously beside me. The sisters' antics aside, the parents really do lead a boisterous lifestyle. It seems utterly divorced from the life that Lily and Akira have lived until now. I suppose practically must have made the decision for them. To have come from such a wealthy and well-connected lineage only adds to the almost noble air Lily seems to have. Though it's a small wonder none of it seems to have rubbed off on to Akira. They really are as little alike as siblings could be. Their only similarity seems to be their shared confidence, which can be both enduring and a headache at times. Most of the night continues, much the same, with Hanako eventually leaving the Satao sisters and me to ourselves as she heads back to her dorm room for a rest. For a while, only the barely audible sounds from Lily's teacup and saucer can occasionally be heard as she slowly drinks. Silence is strained as Lily and I wait for the elephant in the room to be addressed.
So,
Lily dutifully puts her cup down, giving her sister her undivided attention. With Lily and me on one side of the low table and Akira at the other, this almost feels like a judge passing down a verdict.
I hear that you two are going out now.
I glance sideways at Lily to confirm her as the source of Akira's knowledge. She gives a gentle nod to Akira, which I mirror in affirmation. Deciding that this is the proper time to and place to do so, and Akira being the closest figure to a parent Lily's had for much of her life, I bow deeply with my hands on the floor before me and my head very nearly the same. I'll take good care of your sister, Akira. I promise.
See, he's a lovely young gentleman.
She must have heard my voice coming from the lower position than usual. I slowly bring myself back up, my eyes tentatively looking to Akira from under my brow. To tell the truth, I very much doubt my suit judge will raise any objections. She's very definitely the type to make her disapproval with others well known, something that lends her a measure of respect in my eye.
The old-fashioned kind, huh? Well, he's the kind of person I guess you'd go for. I don't have a problem with it, and I wish you two the best. Even if I didn't like it, I couldn't really do anything anyway.
I offer a nod of appreciation to her as Lily gives a small sigh of relief. likely more out of duty than any actual brief. Akira might have had a problems with us being together.
I do wonder, though, how's the rest of the family taking it? Particularly the part residing at Yamaku. Have you told her?
Oh god, she's making that fucking devilish grin again.
Mm-hmm.
Smiles turn to grimace as Akira grins downright evilly. Fucking why not? Look at that fucking face.
Mm-hmm.
The closest know how to twist the knife best, after all.
Putting up with it may be the best term for the situation. Don't you agree, Hisao?
Yeah, that sounds about right. At least she's being reasonable about it.
Good to hear. That girl can be a handful at the best of times. We sent a few messages back and forth during and just after the trip, and she was already busting my chops for seeing my boyfriend when we came back. After leaving Hideaki for so long, she really does care for the little guy.
I cast my mind back to Shizune's odd reaction after telling her about our relationship, but decides not to bring it up. It's no doubt simply born of their mutual empathy, and Akira's comments only back that up.
Well, then, that's settled. Gotta get to work early tomorrow, so I better be off.
She rises from the table with a grunt, her hand on her knees to push herself up. I just noticed Akira's eyes lingering on Lilly for a couple of seconds before turning away, as she begins to take her leave. After she walks out of the door, she stopped and looked thoughtfully before turning to us one last time.
Oh, yeah, I almost forgot to tell you. Use protection every time.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I fucking.
Hey, that's some pretty sound advice.
That's pretty sound advice, but goddamn! I'm not gonna lie, you might have romanced the wrong one, Lamau. What do you mean, lock on? I gagged violently on the tea in my mouth. Contrary to my own, Lily's composure, perfectly as she seems entirely unfazed, I'm kind of impressed.
We are, don't worry. Atta girl. See yas.
Oh my god.
Oh, Lord.
And with that, she turns and strides away, a hand held high as she disappears into the darkened hallway, closing the door behind her. The most reaction I can muster is flopping forward onto the table, completely drained of energy and truly exhausted by her. Lily's ability to hold her own against that suited devil is something I admire. She really is incredibly blunt. I don't think I'd ever be able to keep up with your sister's energy. As I feel Lily's soft hand come to rest on my own, I roll my head to the side to see her gently smiling for a long time. We simply sit beside each other silently. Given her unquestionably unusual height, she is pretty much exactly as tall as I am, probably a couple centimeters higher, if anything. Like this, she appears even taller. The feeling of her pale, soft hand against my is a pleasant one, as is the sight of the thin silken pajamas she wears, showing her curves and collarbone.
You do get on well, though, even if you do say that.
I guess. You know, you two are a lot more alike than I first thought when I met you.
Then it's a good thing I quickly stopped you from going after her, isn't it?
Though she jokes about it, my assessment of my inability to keep up with Akira, either physically or mentally, was quite in earnest. The Wa has arrived. Welcome, Wa. Hello. Hopefully you're doing well.
Wow.
Just doing some Katawa with the wonderful wifey here. He's great.
Yeah.
Lily's slow-placed and ladylike, almost motherly nature is perhaps the single thing that helped me most in my first weeks at Yamaku. How's the slime doing? I am doing good. How about yourself? Come to think of it. Wait, since when were we using protection? Excuse me, what? As I give a curious look at my side, Lily's cheeks puffed out of her as she huffs at me.
Unlike you, I remembered. The packet is in the cupboard next to the sink.
So I'm not the only one of us that takes a pill. In hindsight, I feel rather thoughtless for not remembering at all and leaving it to Lily. Looking over the cupboard she mentioned, I noticed again the knee-high piles of books around us that were here the other time I visited. For the most part, they are lined up against the wall to give a little more room around the table. Dying in this heat? Same, Wa. Same. I feel you. Why don't you get a bookshelf for your books? It's odd to see books just piled around, especially given that your room looks so neat and orderly otherwise.
They're easier to find this way. I know exactly which pile each book is in.
Wouldn't you still know that after putting each set in a different shelf on a different shelf?
That may be, but
So she's not immune to bouts of laziness after all. What am I watching? You're just watching a visual novel, you know? We're just reading a visual novel. This this doesn't seem PG. What do you mean, bro? It's perfectly PG. I don't know
There's a
what you're talking.
PG option.
What do you mean? There's always been a PG option. You know, the chinchilla.
I'm just saying this game can have an option of being not PG.
I don't know what you're talking about. You two, but please don't kill me. I promise. And yeah, the heat is killing me. Like I said, I feel you on a whole level of that. It is dire and it kills me day by day.
ow.
Bulma, I told you to use protection, Vegeta. What do you mean, woman? I had my armor on.
Oh
I fucking love that. God damn it, Lockhart.
my god. Oh my goodness.
Motherfucker. Oh, you have so many of them. It's kind of a shame we can't share our book sets, despite both of us reading so much. She gives a short giggle. Come to think of it, why do you order your books through Yuko? I imagine there'd be plenty of sites that you could order books in Braille from, especially in English Braille. There's a lot of text to speech programs too. She turns her head slightly away from me, which strikes me as somewhat surprising.
I just not all that good with computers. I'm all right with typewriters and braillers, but that's about it.
Her tone almost makes me chuckle. She's a prideful person, so admitting something like that must be difficult. So Lily is the low tech kind of person. Given her old fashioned personality, not really a stunning surprise. I wouldn't worry about it. A lot of people aren't really that good with them, so it's not that unusual.
That's unusual.
Now she's even more depressed. It feels like I'm twisting the knife rather than healing her wounds. With a bit of squirming, I shuffled my way closer to her, tentatively putting one hand around her waist to hug her. I'm still not really used to this kind of physical affection, but Lily seems to like it. Well, be back. Be back. So I what? So I should see you in a bit. Yeah, take care. Why? Go do your thing. Go do your thing, buddy. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo.
Whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa. Where's the chinchilla, bro?
This is still PG. We don't need the chinchilla.
But chinchilla.
Chinchilla.
Lily smiles as she turns to face me, a kiss being the reward for giving in to her. She draws me in, brushing my upper lip with hers before pressing against both. This way, every one of my senses is filled with her. The barely perceptible sense of her hair, her taste as her tongue fleetingly touches mine, the tenderness of her lips, the image of her filling my mind, the total silence apart from her faint breath. We may have kissed before, but even if this is more a kiss of simple affection than anything, it's still a new and pleasant sensation, and the one that has an actual art for it. Ayo.
Yeah.
Judging from her vivid blush as she pulls back, it's obvious she feels the same as I do. Even if we're entirely alone, it still feels a little embarrassing to open up to each other this much.
If we take everything day by day, I think that would be for the best. Small steps, right?
Yeah, just small steps. We have plenty of time to be together, even after the school year is over, as long as we can move together. I think everything will work out, but okay. But out okay. Neither of us is going anywhere soon, after all. For now, I'm just thankful for this small moment in time we can spend together. The transition after the kissing. Wow. Owen Wilson. Oh no, we're gonna visit him again.
Uh-oh.
He's come back from the dead. I stand unmoving in front of the door to the nurse's office for what feels like at least a dozen minutes or so. It's not like I never entered the small binge room before, nor is it because of any feeling of childlike anxiety over the visit. I know someone here who probably would have it. I mean, same here because dangerous, dangerous. Get your fucking needles away from me, bro. Maybe it's just because the nurse's office is akin to a confessional, and a mission that my body is flawed. The knowledge of the knowledge that such a fact is kept entirely confidential between the nurse and me hardly lessens the feeling. Remembering that the bell to signal the end of lunch break will sound soon, I give a sigh and open the door. The burden will stay with me just this while longer. Well now, if it isn't Nakai, good to see you. Or bad, I guess considering that I'm a nurse. He gives a small laugh, amused at his little joke. I find his humor lacking, somewhat off. But the fact that he can make light of such a situation is perhaps comforting, or at least distracting. His brief episode of entertainment over, he claps his hands together and gets down to business. I take a seat as he gestures for me to do so. I wish the classrooms had seats this comfortable. I can feel my mind wandering as my eyes quickly scan the room, distracted by all the small changes since I last came. Like what? Besides that weird ass wallpaper on his PC, what is there that's changed? Alrighty, so what brings you here? I haven't seen you often, so I assume your health's been good so far. Well, mostly. I see. A smile drops as I trail off. I feel slightly guilty about it. It's these moments where I can't rationally call myself normal. That makes me so reluctant to see the nurse. They're an admission that I'm different from everyone else. While I was on a trip during the long weekend, I had a few problems with my heart. He hums very seriously and nods as he does so, urging me to go on. I think it was, yeah, it was when, it was as I was walking a fairly long distance. I think the right term for it is a heart flutter. I suddenly went weak at the knees and felt almost like I was having a small heart attack, but it passed in about half a minute. Even afterward, though, I felt pretty fatigued and nauseous. That's not good. Not good at all. That was how many days ago exactly? Did you do anything unusual, aside from exerting yourself before the episode? Were you taking your medication properly? The nurse switches from awkward jokester to serious health professional mode, rattling off questions, making notes, and calling up stuff on his computer. I tell him about my forgetting to take my pills that morning and the preceding evening. It was a stupid thing to do, but I can't change anything about it now, except answer honestly and bite the bullet. His seriousness evolves into a frown, and the talk evolves into an instant checkup. And he just like comes out and just like, so you didn't take your medicine, huh? I guess I have to kill you here and now.
Yes, I have to kill you.
I finish buttoning up my shirt and again get motioned to take a seat in front of the nurse. Is this the first heart problem you've had since coming to Yumako? I've had short pains in my chest before, just a couple of times, but they were more discomforting than anything like this. He leans back in his chair, briefly resembling a white-coated Poirot as he mulls over the mysterious case of the heart flutter. Moving his lips from side to side to show he's thinking, his non-existent mustache wiggling, he eventually comes to a conclusion. Well, you survived it. That's always on the plus side. I blink at this one, then notice the nurse wearing his gotcha face. It's actually somewhat reassuring. I don't think he would crack jokes if things weren't really serious. So I kept silent and take my lumps. I'll have a talk with your doctor. For right now, I suspect it's simply due to physical exertion. Have you been keeping up with regular light exercises like I directed you to? I make sure to walk a reasonable amount every day. It's usually enough to work up a bit of a sweat, but then again, I'm not really as fit as I used to be. That should be enough then. The main thing is to keep in mind is to do regular low-stress exercises, not short bursts of sprints and such. I understand. Since leaving the hospital, I've been a lot more focused on my studies, partly to take my mind off of being able to do more physical things. It's good to hear you're coping well, because you're huffing all that copium. It's good for medical reasons. Some lifestyle changes can be hard at the best times. I'm pleased to hear that you sound like you have everything in order. Almost everything, that is. Gotta stop huffing on that copium, though. Nevertheless, I want to keep a close eye on you for a while, just for observation's sake, just to make sure things aren't going downhill. You understand? That's something I really didn't want to hear. Since coming to Yamaku, all I wanted to do is live a normal life as possible. Observations was the one of the words I came to hate most during my hospital stay. For so long I felt as if I could have just walked straight out of the hospital doors, if not for that observation the doctor wanted so dearingly. Sure. Should I come in more often? He checks the calendar next to his computer, which seems to inflict on him a nasty case of frowned brow. He spins back towards me after that. The summer holidays are a bit of a pain, considering the timing. I'll check with your doctor to try and get a better handle on the situation and see how he wants to proceed. But I think you should take things slow and carefully for now. What you're describing doesn't immediately sound like a recurring event, but it wouldn't hurt to slow down for a while. Just make sure. What should I do for today? He looks over my shoulder at the clock hanging over the door. I never have noticed it if I haven't followed his gaze. It's nearly time for school to be over, so you may as well just leave early. He gives me a sly wink, making sure that I understand he's doing me a favor. Well, doctor's orders. Thanks. That's what I'm here for, after all. I know you might not want to hear this, but you can't ignore your condition. Don't hesitate to see me if you have any further problems, or if you just have anything you want to ask. Bye! He spins around and gets back to typing on the computer in front of me. I suppose I'll just read before waiting for Lilly by the gate, considering I don't have much else to do. Even as I leave, his words echo in my mind. Don't huff the copium. Why are you still huffing it? Stop huffing the copium. It's bad for your heart. My condition isn't something as limited as many of the others here in Yamaku, and I don't want to be a burden to I don't want to burden Lilly with thinking about it. If I just live life normally and avoid any short, sharp shocks, I should be okay. I won't let my condition rule me. Lilly comes into view soon after the bell hurriedly the end of the school day ringing out. She says farewells to a number of her classmates, headed in the other direction before beginning her weekly trip to the convenience store. Afternoon, Lilly. The intimidated, warm smile and relaxed demeanor she muses upon noticing my presence are unexpectedly welcome.
Hello, Hisao. Good afternoon to you too.
She hesitates for a second, but eventually, tilted her head forward and closes her eyes. My lips meet hers with a measure of slight trepidation before we move off hand in hand. The fact that we're so close in height is somewhat useful at times. There's no need for the either of us to turn our heads upward nor downward in order to meet the other. Height problems, pain, suffering. I hate it here. It doesn't take much time to leave the noise of the other students far behind us. The tapping of Lily's cane in our free hand, the only sound being to be heard. Silence, blissful silence, is all that greets us while we slowly walk in the setting sun's light. I think I'm coming to really like this town. The huge green hilly expanse, the trees everywhere, that somewhat rustic little building.
So you've come to appreciate the tranquility of it as well.
I think so. I come from a metropolitan city near Tokyo, so the quiet of this town really alienates me when I first arrive. After a while, it became really nice, though. I think I prefer it to the hustle and bustle of my home city now.
Well, I preferred the quiet of such a rural town even when I first arrived. I suppose I had the advantage of growing up in a quiet area before I came. Hanako said the surroundings are very pretty too.
Lily may say such a thing quite easily, but each time she mentions how others describe sights around her as beautiful or pretty, I feel a little put off. Pepper, hello! Welcome on in. How are you doing? Hopefully well. Me and the wifey here are just reading some Katawa, just vibing. It's great. I noticed her expression become one of anticipation for some question or another. She's always had a good sense for when somebody's not saying something that's on their mind, so I may as well speak up. Perfectly perfect in every way. That's good. I'm glad that you're doing well. Take one more sip of my tea.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of wondering, how to put this. Do you ever regret that you can't see what things look like for yourself? It's just something I've been thinking about. She thinks carefully for a time.
Do you ever regret that you can't hear people whispering on the other side of the room? I can only speak for myself, but the fact that I can't see is the only way I've experienced life. Just as I cannot do something you can't do something that I'm capable of. The fact that the world is made for those who are sighted can be a pain sometimes, but there are many, many people who suffer much more than I because of the way the world is.
That does make sense, but still, it just feels kind of bad to describe something that you can't experience to you. She tilts her head quizzically, as if I just said something that makes very little sense at all.
But I can experience it. You just said yourself that you like this area because of the way the surroundings are. I like this area for the very same reason. Thanks to the fact that this is a small rustic town surrounded by trees, it gives some peace and quiet away from the din at school and the bustle, not to mention the smells of the city.
I suppose it would also be much like the home she shared with Akira as well. Her outlook on it seems pretty sensible, and I'm not surprised that she's got a much better handle on her particular condition than I do on mine. Just like how her coming from a location somewhat similar to Yamaku's surroundings, letting her become more accumulative in a short time. Being born blind affected her stance by her own admission. I should stop being so annoyed with myself over it, but I can't shake the feeling that I've depended on Lilly far too much, given the circumstances most have had to deal with in Yamako. It makes a lot of sense. You're pretty good at explaining, as always. Come to think of it, where's Hanako, anyways? She was with us for lunch.
It seems she's busy studying. The exams are far from over, and she said she wants to do better this year than the last.
While I admire her and uh, Atik, she's really been trying to give us a lot of room alone recently.
She's that type of person, I think, the kind that puts others' needs above her own at every chance. She's a sweet girl, even though so much has hurt her in the past. I don't know. I feel like it's only now, when she's less close to me than ever, that she's truly finding herself. It was thanks to you that she began to become more confident. After all, not me.
I take my hand from hers and gently place it on her head. The important thing is that you were there for her. I can't even imagine even imagine what she'd be like without having found someone like you. That much becomes obvious while you were in Scotland. We're still friends, so don't just so we just got to have faith in her. I think she'll become a good person, and that much is thanks to you being there for her when she most needed it, just as you were there for me.
It makes me feel a bit childish when you sound so wise.
Well, I try. Are you doing anything on the weekend by any chance?
Nothing that comes to mind. Why?
Then how about a date on Sunday? It'd be something to do besides exam preparations. Countering my replied, beating heart, she simply smiles and nods.
That would be lovely.
Where would you like to go? Her face changes to one of disapproval.
You can't do that, Hisao. That's cheating.
Ah, do what?
A gentleman should never ask a lady where to have a date.
Ah, oh. Smile quickly comes back, assuring me that she's far from serious.
Don't worry about it. I'll think about where we could go.
I'll leave it to you then. I promise to decide on the next date, though. With our plans for the weekend made, the rest of the walk down the hill continues in silence. The prospect of the last time for any length of time, however, is shattered as I catch sight of a similar figure waiting for us, her hand held high.
Yo.
Whew. Go up again.
Sorry, I'm distracted by the dog barking outside my window. Yeah, he's like barking slash howling out my window.
I slightly could hear it, but
Yeah,
you're
he's
not far
barking
away.
like literally right outside my window. What the fuck? It's 9 o'clock at night. Jesus.
God.
Thank you. Please come again.
The change in temperature as I step outside from the convenience store sends a chill up my spine. Feels like summer's starting to wind down. Looking to my side, the same feeling seems to affect Lily as well. Though, unlike me, she doesn't manage to hide that fact. Or the fact. Something I didn't realize at first was how physically delicate she is, even compared to the likes of Hanako. If I had to describe her, I'd have to say that she reminds me of a China doll. Kira walks up behind her and gives her a couple of hard pats on her shoulder, much to Lily's consternation. For a moment, she looks as envious of my status as an only child as I am of their close relationships. Also, I'm gonna take a little pause here, take a little stretch and all that, because you go,
Yeah.
go do some things. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh shit. Okay. Hold on. Let me. I pressed my mute key and it just did that.
Oh no.
But it's all good. It's all good. Okay. Anyways, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh my lord.
Hi, chat. How's everybody doing? Hopefully well. I think the dog stopped barking for now. They let out the dog at like 5 o'clock in the morning this morning, and I was like, what the hell? It is 5 in the morning. Why are you barking so much? I cannot believe you've done this. I have to pass out since it's almost 4 a.m. Oh my gosh. That's so late. Why are you awake? Yeah, it's only about almost 9 p.m. where Slime and I are, because we're both in the same time zone. Mhm.
And we're back.
Aw, yeah.
Also, I just noticed the audio hasn't been
What's up?
playing this whole entire
Wait,
time.
what?
I said the audio hasn't been playing for the visual novel this whole entire time.
Oh no!
Well, that's Scuff Streams for you.
Oh my gosh.
Also, one more thing, because it is hot.
Yeah, take your time. It's all good. I'm just chilling.
I looked at the AC unit, and it says that it's 80 degrees in here, and I'm just like, oh, pain. It's hot.
Bruh.
Holy fuck.
I actually had to put a jacket on because it's so cold in my room.
Lucky. Oh, the heat. Please stop killing me. Okay. Jesus. But let's continue on. Kira walks up.
There he goes barking again. Sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Kira walks up from walks up behind her and gives her a couple of hard pats on the shoulder, much to Lily's consternation. For a moment, she looks as envious of my status as an only child as I am of their close relationship. They talk between themselves for a few moments as I sort out my bags. Their voices too low for me to catch, but eventually they break off as we begin to walk back to the school.
It feels good to be out of that damned office. You kids don't know how good you have it here.
Oh, at the time, yeah, we definitely knew. Jesus.
Kids. You too, then. Kids grow up so fast nowadays. You're not old enough to say that. I don't know. Being around Hideaki makes me feel damned old. He's so precocious. He reminds me of you when you were younger. He's a nice boy. It would be a shame if Shizune comes to have too much of an influence on him.
Akira gives an amused snort at her sister's empathy. She really doesn't seem to regard it as anything to make a serious fuss about, treating it more like a childhood spat. It looks over to me, apparently only just remembering that I'm here. Damn, okay, fuck me, I guess, you know? I'm just gonna go, you know? I guess I won't be here. It gives a small grin as she reaches towards her back pocket. What is it?
Just a sec. Let me dig it out.
She's gonna whip it out. Whoa. After quite some difficulty, she manages to retrieve her black leather wallet from her back pocket, quickly fishing out what looks to be a folded square of paper. Is it money? Please. With Lily all but unaware of what's happening, Akira unfolds the scrap and hands it to me. An old photo of what looks to be a young Lily and Shizune operating a noodle stall, with some other girl in the background. She looks vaguely familiar, but I can't quite pinpoint why. Can you take a guess? Who this girl in the center is?
No, I don't know. Oh, is it the loud one?
Correct guess.
Dye your hair? Oh, wow.
What is it?
What is it? Oh, yeah. That's me.
That is you.
What is it, Akira? I think you know.
Lily mulls this over for a few moments before realization dawns on her.
Akira, you really needn't.
Pink hair girl? Yeah, that picture is of both Lily, Shizune, and Misha before Misha had her hair dyed. Which she is like the very bubbly girl that just like is very energetic in class. Well, besides recently where she was deflated because she didn't study.
It's fine, isn't it? Besides, it's like the only photo I have of you two since you entered Yamaku where you're not at each other's throats.
I look back down to the photo in my hand. It does seem strange to see Lily and Shizune working together so diligently, without any signs of animosity. If the photo of them during Yamaku's festival, that means it must have been taken 1 or 2 years ago. In other words, the time when they were both in the student council together. Who's the girl in the back? She looks kind of familiar.
Ha! I knew you wouldn't recognize her. It's Misha before she went and dyed her hair pink.
That's Misha? No way. It feels extremely strange to see Misha without her very distinctive hairstyle. Judging from Akira's tone, she doesn't take favorably to Misha's idea of fashion. I suppose that fact just incentivates how odd the situation looks. To think they were so friendly in the past. I wish I could do something to mend their relationship.
You're being very quiet, Hisao.
It just feels kind of strange to see all so friendly like this. Lily moves to say something, but stops herself in the end. This isn't a matter for me. It's between Shizune and Lily, and nobody else. Why is she holding a knife all of a sudden? This...
Things change, unfortunately.
God damn it, I couldn't do fucking...
Oh my gosh.
Every time. I handed the photo back to Akira, who sighs as she folds it up and slides it back into her wallet. A little memory, quietly hidden away, to be pulled out again sometime later.
Yeah, that they do.
Intently, I think Akira's reaction to be simply in response to the situation between Lily and Shizune, but she looks oddly glum compared to what I expected. Lily's expression has clouded as well. What's wrong?
It's just that I'll be going to Scotland fairly soon.
You're leaving for Scotland again? For a long moment, Kira looks surprised. It's an ill-fitted expression for her. After a glance at Lily, she turns back to me as if she'd never done so.
Yeah, in a couple of weeks I'll be leaving for Inverness to work at the company's headquarters. It's a pretty big jump in corporate position, and it's not a chance that that's going to come again.
So Akira's going to leave Japan on what seems to be a permanent basis. I can't help feeling that my assumption that we could all happily while away our days, having fun in this isolated little world, is coming to an end. It's unsettling. I look at Lily, mildly surprised that she hasn't told me such a thing despite usually being so forthcoming. She continues to walk with her face fixatedly pointed ahead. I can't read her expression, nor can I even guess what's on her mind, which is discomforting given how it's usually easy for me to do both. It reminds me of the time when we met at the Shanghai, just before what could be called our first date. At the time, all I could do was comfort her without knowing the cause, and now feels no different. As we finally reach the school's dormitory once again, there's a somewhat awkward silence. I don't think I'm the only one who feels it. See you tomorrow then, Lily. Bye, Akira.
Good night, Hisao. See ya.
And with that, they walk to the female dormitory. Opening the door to the male dormitories, I stop and look back at them, just moments before their figures disappear behind the heavy wooden door. That was a strange moment with Akira, said she was leaving. Well, that wasn't the first time when my thoughts regarding my new life have been called into question. Perhaps the first time to do it quite so profoundly. I still don't know what to make of Akira's reaction, much less of Lily's. The night's chill reminds me to get back to my room before I catch something. My bag's pulling down on my arm with seemingly redoubled weight. If nothing else, I have a date with her set up for the weekend. I'll just need to stop overthinking stuff and get on with things as they were. The exams are still ongoing, after all, and with the trimester end and the summer holidays beginning soon, there'll be plenty to keep me busy for a while. As I give a yawn and retreat inside, my thoughts turn to what Lilly will decide to set as a location for our weekend. Fuck. I can't fucking word, dude. I fucking hate it here.
Rendezvous?
I was like, I know it's a word, I've said it before, but it's just like, I'm not even gonna fucking bother. It's probably
That's
something.
okay. It's a French word, so don't feel so bad.
I forgot about rendezvous. Also, damn, fancy.
Hey, oh, so fancy.
I'm pretty sure this is about the last thing I had in mind when Lilly said she decided where to have our date. No man nor woman is dressed in anything but their finest. Their formality only matched by that of their surroundings. Rich red wallpaper adorns the walls as the city lights far below flicker and glow. Combined with the ambient hum of quiet speech and the high-pitched clattering of cutlery and wine glasses, the mood is very formal, yet relaxed. Enough for me not to feel too uptight despite this being our first real date. Once we get seated, our waiter leaves to attend to others with a quick bow after an appreciative nod from Lilly. Far from being depending on my help, Lilly manages to navigate herself around surprisingly easily so far. Despite the unfamiliar environment, a light brush here and there, and she's generally quite daft about orienting herself as needed. Hey, yo!
Oh, look at that.
My eyes look to Lilly, and I can tell from her face that she's listening to her surroundings just as hard as I'm looking. Though, truth be told, my eyes are lingering on her each time they sweep across the room. The red Cherogazm? Am I saying that right?
Cheongsum?
Trunks?
Oh, it's what she's wearing. Cheongsum.
Ah. She wears accentuates her figure very well and shows her off her legs. Even her hair is done up, and the scent of perfume is just noticeable. While my black suit may be a rental, I managed to select an appropriate one. It feels surprisingly comfortable considering I've so rarely worn one, and it fits the setting just well as Lilly's attire. I guess this is a new experience for the both of us, then. She turns somewhat sheepish.
I've never come to a place such as this before, no?
One hell of a first date, that's for sure. It's going to be pretty hard for me to top this. Small giggle. Even now, our nervousness is dissipating. Her hand skates along the center of the table until it touches the menu, which she takes in both hands and brings to her face.
Hisao?
As she lowers the laminated sheet just below her eyes, I can see another sheepish look. I doubt asking the waiter for a menu in Braille would be productive. I could read it out for you, no problem. I take mine and give it a quick read, my small grin faltering. Perhaps... There it is.
What's wrong?
There are quite a few items on here, and I'm not completely sure how to pronounce a couple of them. One fine cuisine after another is listed, most may be in Japan, but a few items are in English and French. I'm guessing it's to be expected, but I have no idea what's in some of these. Oh, this one I recognized. Wait, hang on. You can cook that! A small giggle of amusement comes from behind the paper sheet. Well, I could read them all out, but it would take a few hours.
Is there anything with some kind of fish in it?
Let's see. No. Aren't those poisonous? No. They eat that stuff? No. Ah! Here we go. A tuna salad seems to be a good bet. From the picture, it looks like it's pretty filling as well.
That seems to be a reasonably safe option.
Let's order 2 then. I'm pretty sure a couple of these dishes are from poisonous animals. I've had enough deadly run-ins from her now. Lilly maintains a smile, but there is a distant lack of laughter. Black humor mustn't be her cup of tea, though to be honest, I don't find it exceedingly funny either.
There are certainly quite a few interesting smells wafting about. The same is true of the sights, I assume.
I've never been anywhere quite like this. A fancy Japanese tea house on an occasion or two, but never anything this lavish nor European in styling. Before another word can be said, a portly waiter in a distressingly tight vest appears at our table to take our order. I do not know how to fucking Jesus. Provencal tuna salad Nicosi, please. 2. I don't even know if I pronounced that right, but fuck it, we ball. I hope I didn't mess up the punctuation of that too badly. Even if I did, he doesn't show it.
And may I have a glass of Chardonnay, please, Hisao?
Oh, the same. As the waiter nods and leaves, I suddenly realize what I said by absentmindedly mimicking Lilly's answer. I regret it pretty quickly. Alcohol?
Only a bit.
This girl has an oddly propensity to getting hooked on things, I swear. Surprisingly, that they didn't ask for identification. Then again, I guess we both do look mature for our age.
I'll have to take your word for it. I'll add that this isn't what I'd call the type of place to ask such things, though.
Good point. We both relaxed a little into our seats, trying to take our minds off of choking formalities of the surroundings. As soon as we do, the same waiter appears at our table with 2 empty glasses and a bottle, the contents of which are quickly and professionally poured into the former. We both nod politely as he leaves, Lilly taking her glass and gently moving it from side to side. The liquid inside glistens as it moves around the glass, and I have to admit it makes me a little less regretful for ordering the same. I guess it must take effort to judge how the liquid inside is acting based on its center of balance. Maybe it's like her origami, taking every little chance to practice her dexterity. I guess I'm not surprised that you know about a place like this. Those who have money would, I suppose. That reminds me of just how completely different our upbringings were. In Yamaku, it's easy to forget about social and economic disparities between students all wearing the same uniform, living in the same dormitory.
Well, Akira was the one to tell me of it. She's come here before, apparently.
Apparently, what? Excuse me? So that's what they were conspiring about on Friday. And you chassied me for cheating.
That's not cheating. It's simply making use of personal contacts.
If you say so. Still, I get the feeling that you're more familiar with this kind of restaurant than I am. He pauses for a moment, a wistful look on her face, before softly smiling. The compliment seems to brighten her mood.
You can thank my former school for that. If I were to appear any less, they'd be gravely disappointed.
She had mentioned her previous schooling before, but now I'm kind of curious. She seems to think a lot about her past, so I didn't see any problem in asking. What was it like?
It was prestigious, all girls and Catholic. These facts made my parents choose it for me. Many wealthy families sent their daughters there.
From how it sounds, life there must have been pretty strict.
I wouldn't say it was a bad experience, but you're quite right. It was very strict. Thankfully, I managed to adapt well enough and make a number of friends. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for my sister. She found the atmosphere and religious aspects suffocating, and ended up leaving for a job as soon as she was able to.
Damn. He gives it a small, self-deprecating chuckle.
I shouldn't complain about it, though. Not many even have the chance to go to such a school.
Do you resent your parents for sending you there, then leaving? She gently shakes her head.
My family is highly patriarchal. My father, business is always on his mind, was entirely lost as to what to do with me. In the end, he made the decision that my education was of higher priority than staying with the family. He simply did what he thought was best.
To say such a thing so easily. What an unbelievable girl. That said, I'm a little surprised she doesn't think her blindness played any part at all. Though maybe I'm being too harsh on her family. You're too kind-hearted. You know that. Most would hate their parents for something like that.
Well, some do.
Obviously, to raise my eyebrow, she takes a sip from her glass. The wine slips down effortlessly. Her fondness for it evidently helps her deal with the flavor of alcohol. I can't say the same goes for me.
What of yourself? What was your schooling like?
Mine? Let's see. It was fairly normal public school. I suppose maybe a bit busier than the norm. I did quite well in class, and I played soccer in the soccer club. Since I'm the only child, and my parents both worked a lot, I wasted most of my free time and money at the arcade with my 3 friends. No matter how much I played, though, I never did manage to beat Maya at any of those machines. Even Takumi and Shin lost to her whenever they tried. Then I'd be left trying to be a responsible adult when Shin and Maya fought again. Just the 4 of us, aimlessly enjoying our childhood. Those were some pretty silly times. I catch myself as I realize that I am starting to zone out. The days of my old school disappearing to the night sky, and bright city lights outside the window. Lilly's face is an odd mixture of curiosity and sympathy. Given her strict schooling, I suppose something like this would seem an interesting contrast to the only life she'd known.
It sounds like your previous school was a lot of fun.
I'm not really sure how much of it is nostalgia, but there are some nice memories. That's in the past, though. I can't go back there now, but through my accident, I found a new life I never imagined leading. I never have imagined leading. The peace and calm of Yamaku and the direction of my future in science. The friendship of Shizune and Misha and Hanako, and most of all, you. She gives a deep and genuine smile as she moves her hand towards me, her fingers just lightly searching out my face before softly caressing my cheek. Her hand reluctantly retreats after a second of warm silence, as we notice the waiter arriving with our meals. Lilly does a deft job of covering her condition, except for the fact that her nod to him is slightly misaligned due to his silence. She really seems to work hard at appearing as normal as possible in public. While I noticed it long ago, I still can't quite gauge whether it's a want to not be treated differently, a slight sense of vanity, or some mixture of both. The dish served lives up to the salad name, and the portion pleasantly large with sliced eggs and tomatoes. It looks very enticing indeed. Lilly takes her knife in one hand and a fork in the other, quickly getting to work on the dish as I do. It's later than when we usually have dinner, so we're both eager to dig in. My caution skewering of leaves and vaguely meat-like squares with my fork is matched by Lilly's silent and measured pondering and chewing, and occasionally tapping around the side of the piece of food to work out its edges is the only giveaway of her lack of sight. I'm done with my meal in little time, Lilly taking the last few bites as I sit observing her.
Finished, Hisao?
Yeah, it was pretty nice. That much is very true. I never thought a simple salad could be so tasty and filling, but then again, I suppose that's why it costs so much to eat here. Content with my appraisal, and evidently agreeing, Lilly gives a small nod. You know, given that you're part foreign, exotic looking, and quite pretty, I'm surprised that nobody ever confessed to you before.
You're assuming nobody did.
The simple statement takes me off guard. I shouldn't be surprised given that I was complimenting her just moments before. Really?
I've received several confessions, both in this school and my previous one.
Damn.
Hot diggity. Adolescence is a funny time.
She's kind of talking as if she's above herself. Huh? How easily you say such a thing? Lily looks surprised for a moment, before a playful smirk covers her face.
Is that jealousy?
No. No.
Yes.
What? No, it isn't.
You're a bad liar, Hisao. You should take that into account. Read like a book.
Fuck me, I'm an open book. Shit.
Then again, I do appreciate how sincere you are, even if you don't intend to be, sometimes. I think your honesty will always serve you well when dealing with others.
I clear my throat in mock disapproval of this whole business and try to steer the conversation elsewhere. Fucking jealousy? No, I'm not. Baka. Fuck. God damn it. To tell you the truth, though, I do prefer solitude to being surrounded by others. I don't think I could maintain a social circle like you do. She contemplates for a moment.
I don't think that's true either. I've seen how gentle and caring you are around Hanako, and you get on marvelously well with others, even those whom you hardly know. I think you're quite adept at social situations. But on that note, what of your confessions, Hisao? I'm sure someone like you must have had at least one admirer.
Damn. As I open my mouth to speak, I can feel my face turn slightly door. At times like this, I secretly appreciate the fact that she can't see my expression. Just one. Her name was Iwanako. It was when she confessed to me and that I had my heart attack. There in the woods, during winter. Lily finds herself speechless, not expecting for the topic to move in such an area. My condition has always been something of a concern for her, something that I strive to minimize despite my body's best efforts to the contrary. Afterwards, she visited me for a while when I was in the hospital. For weeks, she came in and talked. It was usually just small talk or classroom gossip, but that was enough. But eventually, she just stopped coming. She was there every day, then every other day, then once a week. Then finally, one day, she just stopped visiting entirely.
Did you ever see her again?
Wrapped in my own little world, I shake my head before remembering the futility of the gesture. I mean, we have to mention the letter.
I guess so.
The memory of that single letter Iwanako sent me comes back to my mind. I never saw her again, but after I was sent to Yamako, she wrote me one letter. Lily's face shows an expression I know well. I piqued her interest. I'd been slightly offended that it's simply a matter of curiosity for her, but she's never been very good at masking her reaction. In hindsight, it really doesn't say much. What was going on in my old class, how she was faring, and almost as an afterthought, that it was probably best for both of us that we don't see each other again. After reading it, I ended up reassessing a lot of things I thought I managed to work out. For the most part, the letter reminded me that the world around me was still moving, and just how much I'd become isolated from it. And I guess it also reminded me of what I lost. She gives the information some thought before her face lightens up in realization. No doubt she worked out that it was this letter, which had contributed to my angst during that lunch on the rooftop. It's a rare sight to see Lilly quite lost for words. Her entire persona is a little deflated from her earlier rap interests. As charismatic as she is, in the end, that isn't any replacement for life nor relationship experiences.
Perhaps it is better she sent it than not.
How's that?
It can be difficult to work out how best to communicate with those you haven't met in a long time, all the more so considering your separate situations. Instead of doing what was easiest, she built up the courage to talk to you one last time, not only for her sake, but, from how it sounds, for yours as well.
Maybe. I don't hate her for it. Not that I really ever did, but I don't know. Probably the more non-committal answer than I should give, but it isn't without cause. I've never looked at the situation like Iwanako's perspective like that before. Seconds passed in silence before Lilly speaks again.
Moving to Yamaku must have been hard for you, having your friends and even your girlfriend taken from you for no fault of your own.
The worst of it passed. While I was in the hospital, when all that surrounds you is 4 white walls and a small television, your mind takes on a life of its own. It's like my old school. I guess I'm trying not to dwell on what happened and keep thinking ahead. All that reminiscing does is get me down, and it largely thanks to you that I feel like things are finally getting back on track.
That's pleasing to hear, Hisao.
She lowers her face slightly, her expression pensive. I guess I went too far and embarrassed her. I suppose you went through something a bit like that, or a bit like what I did when you entered Yamaku anyways, right? Imagine the vast majority of our school's students did, after all. You said yourself that you made friends in your old school. Can I imagine many followed you? Lily's deep smile drops, her expression unexpectedly darkening, even her hands retreating into her lap. After a long while, she speaks.
Hisao, can you promise not to tell anyone else what I'm about to...
I promise. She looks slightly taken aback from my serious tone, but then relents and smiles weakly before continuing.
When I moved to Yamaku, I did regret losing the friends I'd had at my other school. But there was one person whom I most regretted not seeing again. He was the reason I took up English as a future career.
He? Considering she came from an all-girls school, that can't have been schoolmates then.
I rejected the confessions I'd received until then for him. Every time I improved my English skills, his praise was my most treasured reward. It's funny, isn't it? Someone like me, able to boast about the people who have set eyes on me, liking someone so utterly unattainable as my tutor. It is truly the most ridiculous thing.
Did you? She quickly shakes her head from side to side.
I couldn't. Even then, I knew it was impossible.
A silence regains over both of us. This does seem to explain her ardent focus on her future in teaching English, but I can't help thinking of her confession to me. She lost him without even letting her feelings be known. Did she somehow fear that would happen again, but with me? I don't really know what to make of it. I heard of such relationships before, taboos born of such things as puberty and youth. The fact that she had the good judgment not to act on it, though, is heartening.
I know this must sound strange, but please, don't think of me.
Why would I think any less of you for that? To be honest, I think he must have been a very nice person if you liked him so much. Not only that, but you stopped yourself before going too far. For a moment, she looked somewhat lost, most unexpectedly though. It isn't a second before she starts laughing. The sounds take me off guard. It's not a giggle, nor a restrained chuckle, but honest, genuine laughter. I find myself smiling, and not just at her display of relief and happiness, but for her to trust me enough to let me see the most private of secrets. Oh, shit. Hold on.
Oh, you good?
I hit escape on it for a second. Before I realized it, I feel her palm touching my face. Her touch is gentle as ever, with her thumb slowly stroking my cheek.
You're kind, Hisao. I really do love you.
Seeing her face like this, with her palm gently caressing my face, I think tonight has been a wonderful night. I guess we've both had pretty weird pasts, eh?
I think by most standards, our present is rather odd as well.
I smile and hang my head. This woman can easily run rings around me. Of that, I'm quite sure. I look back around the room with the continuing quiet hum of patrons. This place probably fits into the odd category too.
It's a tad overbearing.
That's one word for it, yes. I catch my eyes of a scurrying waiter, a short, scrawny guy, no older than 20. Kind of reminds me of Kenji, though unlike him, the waiter doesn't dress for winter during midsummer. After a curt bow and an offer to remove our plates, Lilly asks for the bill politely and softly. With expert coordination, he maneuvers around the table, our plates in hand, to retrieve our bill. And for some reason, just the unexpected feminist conspiracy being called out in the background. In no
Whisper
time,
of the feminist conspiracy.
It's her. What is she doing here? What is this? Is she part of the mafia? I thought none of them from school would know. Damn it!
in no time, he reappears through the doors, smartly handing our bill to Lilly, who promptly hands it to me, causing him to raise an eyebrow. As I read the small computer-printed leaflet,
Yeah.
the cost of considerably more than I expected.
Hisao?
Oh, I quickly stamper out the amount, to which Lilly merely nods and reaches for her purse. She gives her card to the waiter. He disappears once again. That was disproportionately large amount of money. The statement seems to make Lilly slightly uncomfortable.
My family leaves me more than enough for my education. The same goes for my sister, though she dislikes being reminded of the fact. That said, I too dislike throwing money about, but this one time I think I can make an exception, just for you.
Aww. Not only did you choose our date, but you paid for both of us as well. I take the bridge of my nose in my fingers. I can't believe how high you have set the bar for our next date. She gives a small giggle.
I'll be looking forward to it, Hisao.
As well as your wallet being empty. My wallet's gonna hurt! The waiter reappears beside us, as if by magic, and hands Lilly's card back to her. Evidently picking up on her lack of sight, he places the card in her hand with an extra perhaps unneeded amount of firmness to make sure of her grip. Leaving, he exercises a measure of diplomacy by keeping a neutral face despite my own expression. It's the slime and Oni. Yes, hello, hopeful. Well, come on in. Hopefully you're doing well. I clap my hands together. I stand up from my seat in order to bring an end to our night out. Shall we be off then, my lady?
Milady.
Transition from the sexy day. Oh fuck, my wallet next day. I'm good. About to go into my overnight shift soon. Fair enough, fair enough. I mean, just relax for a bit. With the slime and the Oni as we read. You a tale of wonders? I don't know. I'm just here, man. Go. I snap upward out of my sheets and sit vaulted upright in bed, as if an electric shock had just run through my entire body. The night air feels cold against the sweat on my bare skin. My breathing short and rugged, nearly to the point of hyperventilating. Mind racing, I bring my hand to my head in an attempt to soothe my body's panic state. It takes me a number of seconds to realize my hand is shaking violently, even as if I press it against my face. Figured I'd come see how y'all doing, since I haven't been in y'all's streams in a minute. It's good to pay a visit, you know? We always appreciate it. Even if you can't stay for long and stuff gets in the way, it's all good when you can just pay a small visit and say hello. More seconds pass in complete silence. My desperate attempts to subdue my body and mind slowly, thankfully work. Gathering myself, I start taking measures of the state I'm in. It feels like I run a marathon. Every muscle feels tense, sweat practically pouring off of me. Carefully direct my attention to the beating in my chest, measuring out the rhythm in my head. Sure enough, my unreliable heart is functioning properly. For once. Just what the hell was that? A heart attack? A bad nightmare? Medicine side effects? I heard about panic attacks, and this does seem to have the hallmarks of one. Can't even be bothered thinking about it right now. I feel utterly exhausted, yet completely awake after this experience. I look over to the other side of my bed, the pale white and silent figure's face almost glowing in the nighttime darkness of the room. Just the sight of her is enough to calm me down significantly. Hey yo, what's all this going on then? You got a license for this woman. Her graceful demeanor persists even while she sleeps. While she's asleep. Perfectly measured breathing and gentle face making it possible to tell whether she's awake or truly asleep. Giving into temptation, I delicately run my fingers over her head. Her skin is soft to the touch, as it always has been, yet warm even in the cold night. It's a time like this, silently appreciating each other's presence, that I feel we're closest. My finger stops at her wrist, and I bring my hand down to the bed beside me. I'm not entirely sure why, but as we become even ever closer to each other, it felt as if something grew between us. Not entirely sure uh, what it is, nor whether it exists before we'd fallen in love. Everything is moving so fast. I don't mind it at all, but it feels unlikely Lilly to be pushing things this much. Thankfully, there aren't any students miling around the hallways at this hour of the morning, lest I'd be interrogated on why I carried 2 plates of breakfast to my room, while dressed in an obviously haste-donned uniform. This isn't to say things like, "This never happened," of course. A single security guard patrolling between 2 sets of bedrooms situated right next to each other is a very small force compared to an absolute hormone. Come to think of it, the fact that it's Monday morning probably helps. I'm not really sure why, but Monday seems to bother me less than they do most others. I hate Mondays. Lasagna. It takes a little creative use of my hands and elbows, but eventually I manage to work the door to my dormitory room open. Stepping inside, I can see Lily just getting up from the bed and tiredly rubbing her eyes. She looks a mess, just like most other times I've seen her soon after she wakes up. She really isn't a morning person. Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you. She groggily shakes her head. The morning light illuminates her, makes her for a very pleasant sight.
It's okay. I needed to get up anyways. What time is it?
I put my plate down on my desk and turned the clock around to check the time. Still early. Don't worry. Plenty of time left before school. She sits on the side of the bed and begins to sniff the air. As she does so, I quickly move the plate away and put it on the desk beside me. Yes, I got us breakfast. Shower and clothes come first, though. She stands still for a moment with her chin pointed slightly out. I gladly acquaintance bequeath something. Fuck me, I guess. And press my lips to hers, savoring the soft feeling before breaking off. With a small and sweet smile, apparently quite satisfied, she slowly makes her way to the shower. I stretch to try and wake myself up a little bit more, briefly looking at the steaming dish on the desk. Rice, fish, miso soup, and some vegetables. A standard breakfast for a somewhat unusual day. I grab the bottles from my desk and start taking my daily regimens of pills. Ah, PNG of a bottle of pills. How I've missed you so.
Pills.png.
I sometimes wonder what these things are even good for, given all the troubles I've had since the initial accident. I can't even say that it doesn't hurt to take them, considering the side effects so far. Well, whatever. Doctor's orders are that I have to take them, and rationally suggest that I'd be well served to trust his judgment over mine. It doesn't take long for the noise of the shower to cease. A quick one, apparently, being fine for Lily given the circumstances. From emerging from the bathroom, she looks significantly more awake, having had the chance to collect herself. Without a word, I gently take her hand in mine and guide her to my desk. Considering I don't have a table in my room, as she does, you'll have to do.
Thank you, Hisao. What did you prepare for breakfast?
Just rice, some vegetables. Something fast. Her face lightens up at the revelation.
That's quite a breakfast. This is normal for you?
Now she's just being nice. I have little doubt, considering her past, that this isn't exactly a high-class meal by her standards. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Just because we're students doesn't mean we can take it lightly. That's my belief anyways. From what others I've talked to have said, I might be in the minority. I take a seat on the side of my bed and begin eating together with Lily, her chopsticks lightly tapping out for the outlines of the vegetables, just as I noticed her doing on during our date. No bacon, no toast, or coffee? The fat bump. No in-flight or movies or anything? I'm out of here. This is pain.
This is quite nice, Hisao. I had no idea you could cook this well.
This time she's much more genuine. I could tell that much. That said, cooking really isn't anything special at all. After a bit of practice, it's really easy to make a simple dish. Most of the credit goes to modern technology. Still, after years of cooking for myself, I should hope so. I got bored of eating instant noodles and ordering pizza every time my parents were both working, so I taught myself how to make a few meals. I'm still trying to get the knack of it, though.
You'll make a good wife someday, Hisao.
God fuck damn it. I took a grain of rice and placed it on my thumb before carefully taking aim and giving it a good flick. Lily jumps a little as it hits her cheek, right on target. I can't help chuckling a little at her expense as she lowers her brow and tries her best to assume a harsh and serious expression.
Oh, that's right.
What is it?
Did you have any problem sleeping last night? You seemed restless.
So she was awake back then. Or, at least, partly so. Whether it was my heart or a nightmare caused by the side effects of my medication, the last thing I want is for her to be worried about me even more. Even before my relationship with Lily, I felt my body was a drag on everything I did. My body is a burden alone. So as long as I'm with her, I'll continue to act normally as possible. No, not partially.
Is that so? That's good then.
Luckily, she seems to take me at my word.
Come to think of it, there was something else I wanted to ask.
Oh. Ironic. Oh.
How should I put it? When you dream, do you see people and objects?
Yes. Of course I do. Or, of course I... Oh. I feel more than a little sheepish for the slip of the tongue. However, earnest it may be, Lily looks unperturbed, though.
But you don't taste, feel, nor smell things.
Move to answer, but find myself stuck before thinking about it. The more I mull it over, the more I realize that her hypothesis is correct. That's true, I guess. I never looked at it that way. Are you saying that you do?
For the most part, I hear in dreams, but yes, sometimes I touch and smell things as well. I'm just asking, since Akira thought it very strange that I did when I brought it up with her. If you don't either, then maybe it's due to my blindness.
That would make sense. You rely on your other senses more than me, so maybe that affects your dreams as well? I wonder the wonders of the human body, I guess. For the rest of the time before school, we quietly eat the hearty breakfast in front of us, exchanging a few small pieces of small talk as we do. Oh, the mule's done. Wow.
Oh, wow.
A quick peek out the door assures nobody's looking directly at the entrance for the boys' dormitory. so we walk out with the path clear. Ah, the weather's good today. I stretch as Lily and I make our way outside, the bright morning sun beaming down on us. By now, a few students can be seen doing the same thing, making their way to the main school building, either from the dorms or through the main gate.
It does feel nice and warm.
Our hands linked and her cane tapping the ground. We begin in earnest our trip to the school building and join the chattering throng of students around us.
This would be the last day of exams, no?
Yeah. How are you going in them?
Fairly well, all things considered. You seem a bit stressed by them, though.
It's that obvious, huh? I don't think it's just the exams, though a lot of stuff's been happening in a short amount of time. And I'm not doing that well on the humanities subject.
You're doing well in science, though, aren't you?
Well, it would be hard not to do well in science for me. Come to think of it, didn't you say before that you weren't very good at science and math? She suddenly looks very sheepish, my remark no doubt hitting home. Lily's sense of pride really can be a double-edged sword.
Well, aside from that, have you ever given thought to what you might do with that ability? It seems a pity to waste it.
A bit. Oh my god. A bit. Mostly at Matau's prompting. In any case, I'll probably end up doing science as a career in some form.
That's good to hear, Hisao.
As we enter the garden, I suddenly receive an unsolicited pat on the back. A green-dressed culprit dances around to meet me, evidently not paying any heed to Lily at my side. Oh, is it him? Is it him?
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while.
Hey, just been busy lately with exams and stuff.
Exams. A true resignation man needs no study to excel in such things.
Kenji does strike me as the kind of person that does well in school, even if he has a horrid attendance record and poor work ethic. So I've little reason to doubt his ability. To be honest, I'm a little envious of him. Between studying for exams and my time with Lily, I had practically no time to myself. Maybe this is a bit like how Yuko feels.
Good morning, Sitao. It's good to hear you're doing well.
It feels slightly odd to see Lily speaking so formally. She comes to address me more casually over the month, though I have seen her speak more formally to classmates from time to time as well. Some people never change, I guess. Not that I'd say her calm and polite manner is a bad thing. It's just one of the reasons I liked being around her to begin with, after all. Kenji seems to take a moment to work out who is beside me, and probably hasn't noticed us holding hands either. I wonder if those glasses of his actually do anything.
Oh, hey Lily. Good luck on your exams too. I'll see you after school then, man.
The slightly edge of his voice makes me think those words aren't meant to be an imperative rather than a casual farewell. I guess I'll have to smooth things over later. Sure. See ya. Kenji nods curtly. He moves to pass by us, but he's too busy glaring in Lily's general direction to take notice of her cane. Before I can try to react and save the situation, Kenji trips and reflectively reaches out for a handhold. Unfortunately, said handhold turns out to be Lily's arm. Whoa!
Ah!
Both falling to the ground in a sprawl heap, with me left feeling rather helpless. Ah, damn. Are you two okay? Kenji quickly rises back up, seemingly unfazed by the accident.
No problem, man. No problem. This is nothing. My body could take much worse.
Worse abuse. Jesus Christ. Lily lies face down on the grass. She doesn't look hurt by the incident, more startled than anything. I move closer to offer her my help. Are you alright, Lily?
Hey, Satao!
Kenji offers her a hand, tentatively touching her to let her know what he's doing. He says more odious things sometimes, but I do think he may be genuinely good person at heart. I imagine he feels pretty bad about this. To his surprise and mine, though, Lily pounds on the ground with her fist without warning.
Damn it!
Kenji freezes entirely, caught by the surprise of her outburst. I'm just as shocked she never acted like this before. Not even around Shizune. Seemingly, only now remembering that there are people around, Lily slowly climbs to her feet. Her face as she does so makes me retreat a little. Only catch a glimpse of her expression before she turns away, but it's not something I'll forget soon. She showed plenty of annoyance during her clash with Shizune, but the flash of anger was something else. There's no way that this is just about this petty incident. She pauses for a moment before sighing and walking on ahead. I really don't know what to make of this. I'll talk to you later, dude. See ya.
Yeah. See ya.
Kenji scratches the back of his head, trying to find something to say, then shrugs and walks away, giving us a wide breath. I quickly catch up to Lily. She turns her head a little to acknowledge my presence, but nothing else. I should probably scold her for lashing out like that, but I also don't want to get into a shouting match with her. She's still very obviously annoyed. In the end, I keep my mouth shut and wait for her to cool off. After a quiet walk in, we eventually reach the top of the third floor stairs and the junction where we part every day. I turn to Lily before she leaves. While I do like the comfortable and warm silence we usually share, this was anything but. I don't want to leave things like this. You seem quieter than usual recently. Is anything wrong? She shakes her head almost automatically, as if to dispel any notion that I need to worry about her.
It's just the exams taking their toll. I'll be fine.
I don't think that's the reason. I very nearly say so, but decided against it. There's no point trying to draw it out from her. If she doesn't want to tell me, especially when she's in a foul mood like this. If you're sure. I'll see you later then. As I turn down the hall to go to my class, Lily's soft voice rings out from behind me.
Isao,
Yeah?
I'm sorry.
With that, Lily makes off down the hallway to her own classroom, her hand skating along the metal railing. I stand still and watch her until she turns into her classroom and out of sight before going into my own class with a fair measure of reluctance. As usual, I'm early. Matao is fiddling with folders and papers on his desk as he prepares for the day while a handful of students mile about chatting away. While my feelings about Lily haven't dissipated, Far from it. Her mention of the exam performance did remind me that I have my own life's journey to attend. After thinking about it, I have realized that I do genuinely want to pursue science in some form as a career, rather than it simply being a path of least resistance. Until now, though, I didn't have much of an idea of where in the field I want to go. Just science? It's a pretty broad category of jobs. Something Lilly mentioned earlier focused my thoughts. Something I'd only idly ponder about before. I'm not seriously considering following the specific path. I walk up to Metal's desk, his attention too focused on preparing for the day's lesson to notice my approach. It's the same every day. Good morning. He looks up with an expression of mild surprise that quickly replaced by his typical awkward smile. Good morning, Nakai. Can I help you? Do you mind if I ask you something? He looks down at his messy pile of books on his desk before putting down the papers in his hand and standing up with some difficulty to properly address me. That's what I'm here for. After all, ask away. I was just wondering, what would you say is the motivation behind teaching? He thinks on this question for a few moments before responding, evidently far from having a prepared answer. If you talk to 10 different teachers, I think you'll get 10 different answers to that question. While I can only speak for myself, I'd say that I teach because... He sinks into thought again, carefully assessing the way he wishes to present his idea. Think of it this way. When you were a child, you probably played with sticks and pebbles in moving water, such as the gutter or puddles, right? Yeah, I think a lot of people do that when they're young. Well, it's not just when you're young for some, though it does take another form. My point is, though, that when one is doing that, they're curious about how the water will flow or be changed. Everyone ever at that young age possesses the intense wonderment about how the world around them works, even in its smallest form.
Yeah, because it would be like, how do you do that? How do you do that? I want to do it.
I still feel that sense of wonderment about the universe. Even just reading about new discoveries or classic experience gives me a renewed sense of awe at how marvelous everything is, from the furthest stars to the smallest puddle. I just hope that I can give others even a small piece of that wonderment I feel. If I can do that, even if it's just for one person, I think that I can be happy as a teacher. He scratches his head as he mentally reviews what he just said. This game seems really cute, but getting Hasaguri vibes from the art style, so gonna keep my guard up. Fair enough.
Oh, it's not Higurashi. I can guarantee you this is not Higurashi.
Yeah, it's a nice visual novel. It's anything to worry about. I feel like I understand him better now. Even if he's awkward around others, he does have a genuine want to be around them and offer them a piece of his self that he values. What Lilly told me yesterday rings in my ears. I think you'll get on well with others. Huh. She always did say I was unusually curious. Sorry if that was a little mismendering. Does it answer your question? It does. Thank you. I also had another question, actually. Oh? What might that be? Do you have any college brochures or guides? It's about time I start getting some applications in. He nods and bends down to look inside his desk. As he does so, I notice that he is wearing a remarkably genuine smile. I don't think I've ever really seen him act like this natural around others. Perhaps this isn't Matao, the teacher, but rather Matao, the person. Here, if you need any more, feel free to ask. He hands me a half of a dozen brochures and booklets on various colors and sizes, which I take eagerly. Also, I just smacked my glasses against my freaking pop filter. Wonderful. Also, Casa Kieran says, so no need for PTSD. Thanks for the heads up.
Yeah. It's nothing like Igarashi. No worries.
Yes, it will be this information which I'll use to forge my own future. I think now, after all this time, and all these trials, I can finally start to see the bigger picture of my life ahead of me. My body may be like this, but my mind is still very much able. Thank you. Planning for the future transition. Oh my god, college is gonna suck.
We might end because I am falling asleep.
All good.
Yeah.
So, you know the usual, which is, I'll just read this one line out.
Yeah. Go for it.
This is strange. Boom. That's it.
That's it.
Just this is strange. But let's create a new save state and quit out. Though we are really close. We went from being on Act 4 to now, or being on Act 3 to Act 4. We're getting there. We're getting there.
Getting there, yeah.
But yeah, let's go find someone to raid, because we had a wonderful time, and we got another sus scene off the bat. Thanks, Katawa. Fucking YouTube's gonna kill me over this one, huh? Okay, let me see here. Who do I have online? Thanks for the great stream, YouTube. Yeah, we're here just to provide, entertainment for everyone, and just be here to bring some joy into everyone's life. Also, I would appreciate for those who are just still here, vibing with us, that, or if you've fallen asleep, because it happens. The visual novel does have some really soothing music to it.
Yeah.
But we're gonna make the slime and Oni raid, and you could use whatever emotes you prefer. I use these to show our appreciation to those who we raid, because we just show our love and affection. And you know what? I think we gotta change pace. So let me open a new tab and see how their stream is going. Yes, I know that freaking their content is intended for certain audiences, but does it look like I care? Look at this face. Do you see this face? I'm ready for anything. Sadly, not for Ash, because terrifying indeed.
It's funny. I was going to suggest somebody because they're playing Doki Doki Literature Club, but they just finished.
Lord.
So I was like, oh no, just kidding.
I was terrified of that thought. I was gonna be like, please. But you also make Ash bigger here, right next to me, because he's suitable. I don't want her to be in the tiny corner. We must make the Oni bigger.
Big.
But yeah, we're going to go and raid the wonderful Snake Mom, Dusa Recco.
Dusa.
Yeah, because she's playing some Warframe, and seeing as we did Warframe earlier this morning, because I forgot. Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But yeah, they're playing some Warframe, And, why don't we just go on by and show them some love and affection? Because she's a wonderful, snake mom. She's great. And she's very talented, too. And I love that she's working on her voice acting and everything and her singing. She's doing a lot of stuff to improve. Unlike me, who's currently still just a broke ass slime. But we're no longer gonna be that. We're going to improve. But yeah, Ash got to stream tomorrow. I may or may not be streaming tomorrow. Just depends on really just how Boca is feeling and if she wants to play any other game besides Terraria, which is understandable. But yeah, this slime and this Oni here hopes you have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon time zones, wherever you guys are at, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And we shall see you next time for whatever we have planned. And probably some actual Warframe next week and not me forgetting because I'm dumb. Ah. Anyways, have a good night, everyone. Time zones, the thing